Behind the dazzling lights and iconic stars, the golden age of Hollywood had some jaw-dropping secrets. From forbidden marriages to staged romances, and even rules against wearing pants. Yes, you heard that right. Studios controlled every aspect of their stars' lives. Join us as we uncover the surprising and sometimes heartbreaking rules old Hollywood icons had to follow to stay in the spotlight. 1. Studios had rules against children. In old Hollywood, actresses weren't just stars. They were investments, and studios imposed strict rules to protect their assets, including banning pregnancies. Many leading ladies feared the career-ending consequences of starting a family. Ava Gardner's heartbreaking account in her autobiography, Ava My Story, sheds light on this harsh reality. She revealed that MGM's contracts included penalty clauses for actresses who had children, leading some, like herself, to undergo abortions to avoid losing their careers. These rules show the immense pressure actresses faced to prioritize their image over their personal lives. But there were some loopholes. Despite the harsh rules against having children, some stars found ways around them. Adoption became a popular option for actresses who wanted a family without risking their careers. Joan Crawford and Elizabeth Taylor both chose this route, allowing them to keep working while raising children. Loretta Young, however, took an even more dramatic approach. After secretly giving birth to her daughter, Judy Lewis, she staged an adoption to pass her biological child off as adopted. These creative loopholes highlight the lengths actresses had to go to balance their careers and personal desires in the rigid world of old Hollywood. Getting time off was subject to the studio. In old Hollywood, even a star's personal milestones had to fit the studio's schedule. When Judy Garland married composer David Rose in 1941, MGM wasn't on board with her decision, and they made sure she knew it. Just 24 hours after saying, "I do," Garland was forced to return to work, leaving no time for a honeymoon. This wasn't uncommon, as studios often dictated every aspect of their stars' lives, treating them more like property than people. Garland's experience underscores the relentless control studios wielded over their talent. Women wearing pants was frowned upon. Back in old Hollywood, women were expected to embody a very specific image of femininity. Skirts and dresses were the norm, and pants were practically a scandal. Katharine Hepburn, known for her bold and independent personality, wasn't one to follow these outdated rules. When RKO Radio Pictures took her pants away, she made her point loud and clear, by walking around the set in her underwear until they returned them. This rebellious act not only highlighted her defiance, but also paved the way for a more modern, empowered image of women in Hollywood. Women had to maintain slim figures. Old Hollywood placed relentless pressure on actresses to maintain slim figures, often resorting to extreme measures. Marlene Dietrich was one of the first stars ordered to lose weight, setting a precedent that echoed across the industry. Judy Garland, as a child star, faced even harsher treatment. She was given speed to suppress her appetite and encouraged to smoke cigarettes to avoid gaining weight. If an actress gained weight, she'd often be placed on a harshly restricted meal plan. Marlene Dietrich, for example, was required to stick to a diet of broth, cottage cheese, and toast as mandated by her studio. Female stars often had to completely transform their appearances to fit the studio's vision of marketability. This went far beyond hair dye. Some actresses were pressured into undergoing plastic surgery to achieve a perfect look. Studios dictated every detail, from hairstyles to body shape, leaving little room for personal expression. For example, Rita Hayworth underwent painful electrolysis to change her hairline and was told to bleach her naturally dark hair to fit the studio's image of glamour. These extreme measures weren't just about appearance. They reflected the immense pressure stars faced to conform to Hollywood's ideal of beauty. For many, the constant scrutiny over their weight was a reminder of how little autonomy they had over their own lives and careers. Their love lives were often arranged. In old Hollywood, a star's love life wasn't just personal, it was a marketing strategy. Studios often arranged sham dates to keep fans invested in their favorite on-screen couples. Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland were a prime example. While promoting Babes in Arms, the two were portrayed as lovebirds to boost the movie's appeal. Behind the scenes, though their romance was purely for show, Rooney's real reputation as a playboy was well known. These fabricated relationships helped maintain Hollywood's glamorous image, even if the stars involved had little say in the matter. Even some marriages were orchestrated. Old Hollywood didn't just stage romances. It orchestrated entire marriages, especially to conceal anything that might tarnish a star's carefully curated image. LGBTQ actors were often the biggest victims of this practice, pressured into heterosexual unions to maintain their public personas. Rock Hudson's marriage to his agent's secretary, Phyllis Gates, was one such arrangement. Behind the scenes, Hudson was grappling with his true identity, which he kept hidden for decades. It wasn't until his AIDS diagnosis in the 1980s that he publicly acknowledged his sexuality, shedding light on the struggles many stars faced under Hollywood's oppressive rules. And sometimes unions were forbidden. For some stars, even falling in love was a career risk. Studios had the power to forbid marriages if they believed it would hurt a star's marketability. Jean Harlow, one of Hollywood's biggest bombshells, experienced this firsthand. MGM feared that tying the knot with actor William Powell would diminish her sex appeal, which was central to her public image. Citing the morality clause in her contract, the studio blocked the union. This not only shows how much control studios had, but also how they prioritized profits over personal happiness. Children often worked long hours. In old Hollywood, child actors faced grueling work schedules due to weak labor laws. Studios often treated them like adults, demanding long hours and relentless dedication. Judy Garland, for instance, worked 6 days a week with shifts that could stretch up to 18 hours. Her days were packed with singing, dancing, and acting. To keep up, studios gave her pep pills to boost her energy, followed by sleeping pills to help her rest at night. This harsh cycle took a toll on her health and well-being, reflecting the darker side of Hollywood's glamour during its golden age. And sick days were a punishable event. In old Hollywood, even being sick came with a price, literally. Studios had strict rules about staying on schedule, and any delays were often blamed on the stars. Judy Garland, for example, struggled with addiction after being given pep pills by MGM to maintain her energy. While filming Meet Me in St. Louis, she called in sick for 16 days, and delays on the Pirate caused major setbacks. The punishment? Production costs were deducted from her paycheck, once totaling $100,000. This harsh treatment shows how little compassion studios had for the well-being of their stars, prioritizing profits over health. Before we continue, like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy such content. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. Thank you. Actors had to use studio assistants. Did you know old Hollywood actors were often assigned studio-appointed assistants? These weren't just helpers. They acted as the studio's eyes and ears. While they managed the stars' schedules and personal needs, they also spied on them, reporting back to the studios. For instance, Judy Garland's assistant was more than just a nanny. She was secretly keeping tabs on Judy for the studio. When Judy discovered the betrayal, it deeply hurt her, highlighting the lack of trust in these relationships. This practice was one of many rules that controlled nearly every aspect of a star's life in the golden age of Hollywood. They had to be willing to change their names. In old Hollywood, changing names was almost a rite of passage. Studios often decided that an actor's birth name wasn't marketable enough, so they chose new ones. Marilyn Monroe, Judy Garland, and Rita Hayworth are all iconic examples of stars whose names were crafted by studios. Some decisions were extreme. MGM famously held a public contest to rename Lucille LeSueur, resulting in the name Joan Crawford, which she reportedly despised. While today's stars usually keep their real names or choose their own stage names, Golden Age actors had little say in the identities studios created for them. Every actress was given an image to uphold. Every actress in old Hollywood was assigned a carefully crafted image to uphold. Studios often typecast women as either the wholesome girl next door or the seductive bombshell, leaving little room for individuality. To reinforce these personas, studios even created elaborate fake backstories to match the image they wanted to sell. For example, Rita Hayworth was marketed as a glamorous Latina star despite being of European descent. Unlike today, where actors can break stereotypes and define their own image, Golden Age stars had to conform entirely to the studio's vision. They had to sign long-term contracts. Unlike today, when actors can freely move between studios for different projects, Golden Age stars were tied to long-term contracts, often lasting 4 to 7 years. These deals gave studios total control, assigning roles and even managing personal details like appearance and behavior. For instance, Judy Garland's contract with MGM left her with no say over her roles or public image. Under the studio system, Refusing a role was also almost unthinkable. Unlike today, when actors can negotiate or decline parts based on preference, Golden Age stars had little choice. Studios treated them like investments, assigning roles to maximize profit. For instance, Bette Davis famously faced suspension by Warner Brothers after turning down roles she felt were beneath her talent. This rigid control meant actors had to accept any part, regardless of personal interest or artistic aspirations, or risk severe professional repercussions. It was a stark contrast to the creative freedom modern performers enjoy. Tarnishing one's reputation was inexcusable. In old Hollywood, protecting an actor's reputation was everything. Studios worked hard to craft a polished image, and any hint of scandal could destroy a star's career. Actress Clara Bow, a 1920s icon, learned this the hard way. Despite her immense popularity, rumors about her personal life, including allegations of promiscuity, led to her falling out of favor. Paramount eventually dropped her, showing how ruthless the system could be. For actors, even whispers of controversy were often enough to end their careers, as studios prioritized their public image over the personal struggles or truths of their stars. And there you have it, old Hollywood's hidden rulebook. From sham romances to strict dress codes, these stars lived under pressure most of us can't imagine. Yet, their resilience shaped Hollywood as we know it today. Which rule surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more behind-the-scenes stories. See you in the next video.